would like to welcome you all to this conference organized by the PMO Global Alliance India Hub, PMI North India chapter in collaboration with Center for Data Science, IMT Ghaziabad. In this session, we are going to delve into the crucial intersection of cybersecurity and data security through the lens of project management. The director, sir, couldn't be here, but he has graced us with a video message.
Hello, everyone. My apologies. I wasn't able to be there today for this very, very important discussion, thought-provoking. As an institution, the Institute of Management Technology has been on the forefront of thought leadership, of business excellence, and being able to create business leaders of the future. It is all the more important for us to discuss this thought leadership in the context of what we're seeing nowadays. If you look at what's happening now, whether you call it Industry 5.0, whether you call it Society 5.0, essentially all our relationships are being mediated through technology, whether it's individuals, whether it's society, whether it's organizations. And it's important for us to be able to understand that there's a lot for us to learn, there's a lot for us to reflect, there's a lot for us to think in this particular space. According to the Global Security Outlook 2024, the Global Cybersecurity Outlook 2024, which is published by the World Economic Forum, there's a dearth and a shortage of skills and talent in this particular space in cybersecurity and data security aspects. It's all the more important for us to discuss these, and I'm glad that the PMO Global Alliance India Hub, along with the PMI North India chapter, have come together to discuss this all-important topic within the context of project management. Remember that project management, project managers, project teams are doing yeoman service to be able to contribute. And the reason why we have to discuss this in the context of this is because there's so much sensitive data, project plans that have ramifications on image, that have ramifications on perception, that have ramifications on security of information within organization has to be discussed threadbare. So I'm rather glad and I'm rather thankful to Colonel Dr. Inderjeet Singh, Dr. Pawan Dugal, and of course Mr. Bhupesh Janoti, who've spared their time. And of course, at the same time, I'm rather happy that one of our esteemed alumni, Mr. Gaurav Dhubar, has taken this particular initiative to bring us all together. I'm sure this is going to be an invigorating discussion. I'm glad all of you are able to make it. I'm also thankful to all the faculty. Professor Santosh Srivastav, Dr. Sushmi Rautre, and of course the Center for Data Sciences, who've actually gone out of the way to ensure that this particular discussion today deserves the kind of importance it should ideally get. So thanks once again to the entire audience who's listening to this today. My apologies once again for not being able to be a part of this discussion, but I'm sure this discussion will leave us rather enriched at the end of it. Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite Dipti ma'am on the stage to carry forward the session.
Thank you very much. How's everyone doing today? Great. Only one response. How's everyone doing? Right. Now I'm happy, at least you're responding. And we look forward to your response in this conference. We don't want a silent audience. Our speakers are here to highlight an important topic, and we would like your participation. Now, with further ado, I, Deepti Sehajpal Gori, AVP Programs and Events at PMI North India Chapter, welcome you all to this conference. And I would like to thank Dr. Talwar for this lovely message. And now I would like to welcome on stage Dr. Sareen for the opening speech. Dr. Sareen.
So thank you, Deepti. Thank you, everyone here who have helped in organizing this very, very important workshop. So thanks to Professor Sushmi, Professor Santosh, who have helped organize. And then, of course, thanks to our very own alumni, IMT alumnus, Mr. Gaurav Dhupar, who is the president, PMO Global Alliance India Hub. So he'll be also, and thanks to all the distinguished speakers who have come and will be coming. And I'm sure Mr. Gaurav Dupar will be, in his speech, he'll be introducing all the speakers. So thanks to everyone on this very, very important topic of cyber security, and data privacy, data security. These are, I would say, very, very critical subjects. And increasingly, they are management subjects, because when you are working in a corporation and increasingly the data is digital. In fact, all the financial transactions are happening digitally at even the consumer level, correct? And increasingly, possibly 90%, 95% digital part will happen. And then in addition, there's a lot of other data, whether a marketing data, whether, consumer data, whether your business data. And how are we protecting that data? That is one element, because increasingly businesses are revolving around data. And uh, tools like artificial intelligence or ChatGPT, they require huge amount of data to run. They are hungry for data, and many of those algorithms and many of those logics, proprietary tools similar to ChatGPT are getting developed by companies which are owning customer data, and they're using that data to take that to their advantage. So it is increasingly a business issue, and increasingly also we need to know that what are the laws around data protection. Because as business managers, we need to understand those laws very thoroughly. We cannot say that we are ignorant of those laws, because that is not something which is valid, correct? So you need to be knowing what are the data privacy laws, what are the European, like, for example, of course, European general data protection regulations have been revised. So what are those? What kind of rights they give? What kind of individual protections they give? Similarly, in India, you have this personal data protection bill. So how you have to protect consumer data? What are the geographically, how you need to distribute your data? What are the laws on that? So increasingly, companies need to know that. And since we have experts on these areas, it is really very important for all of us to look at that. Like I have a very busy schedule, but when I looked at the data and I looked at the speakers, I said, okay, no, I'll be there till the end of the conference, because these are very, very important issues. So I would request everyone to be very attentive, be responsive, be alert, because this is something where we are all headed increasingly in the digital world, and data protection and security is something very important. So I hope there's a very exciting set of discussions today, and I wish everyone the best, and I welcome all the speakers. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Sareen. We would like you to stay for a moment, please. Thank you. I would like to call on stage speakers, Dr. Colonel Inderjeet Singh and Mr. Bhupesh Janoti. Please extend a warm welcome to both of them. Dr. Duggal is not here yet. A small felicitation ceremony by the Dean. Thank you, Dr. Sareen. And I again welcome our speakers, faculty members, students, and representatives from PMI North India chapter and PMO Global Alliance. Let's proceed further. Now it's time for the welcome address by PMO Global Alliance's president, Mr. Gaurav Dupar, who's an alumni at IMT Ghaziabad, So let's extend a warm welcome to Mr. Gaurav Dupar for the welcome address. Mr. Gaurav Dupar, please.
Thank you, Deepti. Respected Dr. Vishal Talwar, Director, IMT Ghaziabad, Dr. Amit Sareen, Dean Academics, IMT Ghaziabad, distinguished speakers, Colonel Dr. Inderjeet Singh, Mr. Mupesh Janoti, and Dr. Pawan Duggal, who will be joining us in between. Distinguished faculty members, Professor Rotre, Professor Santosh Kumar, and professors who are sitting here, who taught me 21 years back in 2000, 2003 course when I was there at IMT. Entire IMT fraternity and dear students. It gives me immense pleasure and nostalgic experience to be at my alma mater, which shaped me into becoming what I am today. I'm super excited to be part of this conference titled Cybersecurity and Data Security through the project management lens, with high-powered and eminent speakers from the country. I also would be thankful to IMT Ghaziabad for supporting this event. As per a recent report on cybersecurity market, India stands at $6 billion with a CAGR of 30%. So, which shows its huge potential and also requires a thorough understanding of cybersecurity and data security concepts and how it is impacting the project management as a profession. This conference, of course, is jointly organized by PMO Global Alliance India Hub and our partners PMI North India chapter. So today I'm here to represent PMO Global Alliance India Hub, the largest volunteer non-profit community of project management offices and project management professionals across the globe. And the wonderful thing is our community has recently been acquired by Project Management Institute. Our volunteers are the heart and soul of the community. So I'll just give a quick background about PMO Global Alliance. So these are our key achievements, close to 20,000 plus members in 125 countries, with 6,000 PMO certified professional credential holders and 8,000 attendees in our global events. So this is the news which I just mentioned. We have been acquired by Project Management Institute, and MOU and agreement was signed to acquire PMO Global Alliance. So this is a quick official video from the CEO of Project Management Institute, Pierre Lehman.
PMI is already the home of project professionals worldwide, but we can do more. I want us to do more. It is time for PMI to put ourselves on the line, to commit and take accountability to raising project success responsibly. Thank you, Melin. Thank you. So this event is really huge. 3,500 participants, 54 exhibitors. So that's why beyond this summit, we launched our PMI by AI initiative. Our objective here is really to lead the AI transformation of project management. PMI does consider that PMOs are essential to the evolution of project management. I am very happy to announce the acquisition of the PMO Global Alliance, PMOGA, by PMI. PMI is already.
So this is a quick background about our board. Founder, Mr. Americo Pinto, followed by the advisory board. So our journey actually started from 2010, when the concept of PMO Global Alliance was set up by around 120 professionals across the globe, where they conceptualized the idea of setting up the community of project management offices and how it helps in linking strategy, design, and implementation. Then we moved on to years over year. And finally, in 2024, we have been acquired by Project Management Institute. Since there were quite a lot of similarities in terms of what we do and what we offer to the community. So these are some of our flagship events. One is PMO Global Awards. The recent one happened in Paris in December. So this is about it. So PMO Insights is one of our knowledge sharing event, which we do every month. And we have not restricted ourselves to the project management space only, but we have spread our wings in different areas. And that's the reason we are here to discuss about cybersecurity and data security, but through a project management lens. So in the past, we have been having sessions with the people from ministries, Ministry of External Affairs. We have been interacting with World Health Organization. We have also interacted with various lawyers. And one of the lawyers, Dr. Pawan Duggal, we have invited him in the past, along with Colonel Dr. Inderjeet Singh in our panel discussions. So this is a glimpse of PMO India Awards. We replicated the global project at India level. And we did this last year, and the next one is due in next month. So in this PMO India Awards event, we invite various project management offices with industries, trying to build the best project management practices and standards. So we did this in Mumbai, and I'm happy to share that in the last event, Philips India was the winner, followed by VMware and Intel. This is one of our research projects, which we have been doing to see the current state of PMOs in India. And we have been trying to find out how the project management offices are working and the required support which they need to flourish in the organization. So this is about our small team board of directors. The first one is Karthikeyan Ramurthy, PMO GA ambassador. And fortunately, he is also an IMT alum who passed out in 2000. Then we have Gaurang Bora, who is the Senior Director Projects and Alliances. He is also the PMO India Awards Chair, followed by Sri and Priyanka, who are taking care of communications and marketing. A small snapshot of our India Hub partners. And that's all from my side. And I look forward to this amazing conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. Now we all know what PMO Global Alliance is. It's time for me to call on stage Mr. Jay Kumar, President, PMI North India Chapter, who will talk about what PMI is and will make us understand PMI and its chapter in a better way. So let's welcome Mr. Jay Kumar.
Good morning. Is it still a morning, cold morning, or we are charged up from the speakers? We know now what we are up for, and obviously the introduction from Gaurav. So what we are trying to do and what we are trying to bring here is a specific subject, but with the overall umbrella called project management concept, right? And before I start this project management concept, I just want to bring the perspective here that there are two things. One is that in some of the slide, I may be talking about some fees and all. It is just for reference. We will be working with your institute how to go about that. That's a different thing. But what we are trying to bring here is that as far as the assumption or the calculation by 2027, the worldwide we would need 87.7 million project managers, right? And if we need that project managers, we definitely should work in that discipline and that discipline. So if I start with where try to bring that with the Project Management Institute, which was founded long back in 1969, and then there were so many other discipline has come up. So there is a journey for PMI as well. And that's how the PMI works is that PMI talks about, if I again rephrase Project Management Institute sitting in USA, and how they spread is that across the globe, almost 120 countries, they have a defined as a chapter, right? Regions, and within that regions, there are chapters. So these are the what we are trying to achieve, right? What values we are trying to bring. And from that, so make it easy, aim higher, re-welcoming and embrace, and together we can. So that is very important, together we can. So this is what is the construct. So this is how it is. The entire globe, and we are sitting in a region 11. Region 11 is comprises of 11 chapters, just a coincidence. It is nothing that region 11 has 11 chapter. So 9 of in India, and one is in Bangladesh, and 1 is in Sri Lanka. So here, this territory particular is called under North India chapter. That is what we are representing too. If I look at and see what is the presence of PMI, so if you will see, there are 670,000 plus global PMI members. And so this is just a stat, I'm not trying to read that. And in this, how this North India chapter, the area which we belongs to, means when I say area, we are talking about Delhi NCR, Rajasthan, UP and other states. So our team is, we have PMI board members, which are elected member by the chapter member. And if I am representing my J, and then we have a BP member here, Pankaj, as well as BP Communication, I could see Jagmohan, and as Dipti said, C represents the program. So all the programs and the related for the members' benefit, that what C manages. This is what the North India chapter, so I'm just trying to, so right now, as of now, for this particular territory, as I was talking about, the territory, if we say, it's Delhi, Haryana, Himachal, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Chandigarh. Yeah. And these are the members, glance 1430 members as on today, 890. We have certified PMPs. And we do have, and to become a member, you need not to be a PMP certified. The idea is that maximum students as well as the individual professionals should know and understand the PMP, what is the discipline all about? What is project management? What is program management? What is risk management? What is agile programming, and so on and so forth, right? So that's why there are different certification programs. What we do when we get associated to PMI as well as the chapter is that you start, these 1430 people have a one platform where they can exchange their knowledge, their experience, as well as obviously volunteering. I will correlate this volunteering at my last slide. What the member benefits are, once you become a PMI member, you all have access to project management book of knowledge, as well as the site and different courses, which is there for free of cost for the members, right? So you can go through those webinars as well as the materials, the templates, and so on and so forth. So this includes, we can talk more when I will not take much time when we have a break time, but just to give you a glimpse, right? And then there are a new certifications of PMI. Also understand what happened that when PMI got funded, it got taken over by IT, all over IT and IT and IT. But yes, all other unorganized sectors definitely needs to be organized. And there where PMI has come up with a certification program into construction management, built environment, and so on and so forth, right? This is just for info. And the most exciting, the volunteering after, so PMI every year, they have a South Asia conference. So North India has organized and hosted 2013 and 2018. And now again for this particular year, 2024, we are the host. And when we say we are the host of South Asia Conference, means the entire South Asia with the eminent speaker. Somehow I have not brought that slide here. Eminent speakers we had, including Dr. Kalam and so as Narayan Murthy and so on. So every aspect of life people we have. So this is what I am here. Just wanted to say, and this particular date, look forward for this date and looking forward for more and more participation from you. That is it from me.
Thank you so much, Jay. Now we know what PMI and its chapters are. Now, without further ado, let's begin the conference. So today, why we are here? We are here for this conference on cybersecurity and data security through the project management lens. What we'll learn? So beginning with an understanding of what cybersecurity and data security entails, the conference will delve into how it can be ensured within the project management space. We will also explore how blockchain and emerging technologies like Gen AI play an important role in shaping up the project management professional. So let's delve deeper into this and let's welcome on stage our first speaker, Dr. Colonel Inderjeet Singh. But before I do that, a quick introduction about Colonel Dr. Inderjeet Singh. He has been India's top 30 blockchain think tank, a distinguished figure in the realm of cybersecurity. As a founder and chief cyber officer at Cybersleuths, a premier cybersecurity solution provider. Sorry to keep you waiting, but I need to read all this. He leads the charge in securing critical sectors such as banking, finance, law enforcement, government, and defense. With a remarkable career span of over 30 years, Colonel Dr. Singh brings unparalleled expertise in areas ranging from digital forensics, threat detection and penetration testing to governance, compliance, auditing, and information security. Beyond his pivotal role at Cybersleuths, Colonel Dr. Inderjeet Singh is also a trailblazer in the blockchain domain as the co-founder of India Blockchain Forum, a collaborative platform for building a holistic framework for the right adoption of blockchain and Web 3.0 technologies in India. India Blockchain Forum is a confluence of thought leaders and key influencers in the Indian blockchain industry. It draws leaders from policymakers, industry associations, corporate leaders, startup founders, and ecosystem enablers. IBF has a single mission of making India a blockchain powerhouse by building an enabling environment for collaboration between multiple stakeholders in the Web 3.0 ecosystem. A captivating speaker and a thought leader, Colonel Dr. Singh has graced the TEDx stage twice, sharing insights on cybersecurity. His influence extends globally as a representative at the UN office at Geneva, where he addresses critical cybersecurity issues. So ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Colonel Dr. Inderjeet Singh.
It's working, sir. It's working.
You want me to stand here or talk, or I can stand here and give the talk? Yeah. So thank you very much, IMT Ghaziabad. Thank you, Director, Dean, PMO Global Alliance, PMI, Gaurav, and all the dignitaries of the dais
who on this side. It's a really pleasure to be with all of you today and talking on a topic which concerns everyone, right? And when I say concerns everyone, whether it's a small kid of 2 years or an old person of 100 years, it's concerning everyone. And that's what is the cybersecurity all about. We'll be talking about the blockchain if you want to understand that, because I'm the co-founder of India Blockchain Forum, and also I'm the co-founder of Data Science Society for India. Okay, so if you have questions pertaining to that on the project management side, definitely I'll love to take it on. But let's talk of cybersecurity today. Right. So we'll try and keep it interactive as much as possible, and so that you also imbibe whatever is best known, which is available for you. Okay. So just I want to ask as to why are the criminals interested in you, or why they should hack you? Anyone? What's so important in you? Are you vulnerable? Show of hands. How many of you feel that you are vulnerable? Show of hands. Nobody's seeing. Your answer, the lights are off. Don't worry. How many of you feel you are not vulnerable? It's okay. You still feel that you're not vulnerable. And what's making you vulnerable? What is making you vulnerable? Say, you got to be a bit louder. Data which you already uploaded. Anybody else? All the information is stored on a mobile device. Anybody else? This side? Anyone? Digital transformation, what we are seeing? AI? Yeah, that's also one thing. So primarily, we are in a real myth when we say that we are not vulnerable. Because what you have is the data. And what is your data? Your credit card data, your health data. In India, we're not much bothered about it. Outside, they're very much concerned about your health data. Your credit card data, your health data, your computer data, your social media, where you go, your passwords, your browser data, right? Your mobile data. So everything which is there is making you more vulnerable. And that's where you are in a constant era of threat. Yeah, next. And what are they wanting? Why are the hackers interested? What will they do with your data? Pardon? Absolutely. Money. They're not bothered about, damaging anything of yours. They want what? Money from you. That's why you're seeing all the ransomware attacks happening, all the frauds happening, right? In a country like India, I'll just tell you a figure. There was an RTI, and they said there are 21 lakh frauds which happened between 2022 and 2023. Okay? There's all this Jamtara frauds. How many of you have faced that Jamtara frauds? Anyone? Don't be shy. 21 lakh. So somebody of you has to be, facing that. Okay, next. So just go back. So what we see is this is the amount of data what we are generating. It's 2.5 quintillion bytes per day. And it's 1,000 petabytes if you get into the petabytes and all. And just see how the data has really grown from zeros to triple zeros to 5 zeros to 9 zeros, right? That's how it's really growing. And one study says, because it's not accurate, because nobody is able to estimate the data, it says that it's going to be 200 plus zettabytes of data by 2025. And how we really going to control the data? That's the biggest challenge. And that's what is the ocean for criminals. Yeah. Next. The other interesting thing, we all said we have data. Criminals are interested in our data. Okay. Everybody agreeing with me? But where is your data? Where's the data? In the cloud? Where else? Servers? Can you pinpoint the location of your data? Can you pinpoint the location of your data? If you don't know, how will you know that it's secure or not secure? If the concept is my data is my data, I don't know when it goes in the cloud. Who's handling it? how it's being used, right? Maybe for marketing, maybe for different purposes. Social media does it for different purpose. All the Google guys do it for different purpose. They're using it for their own gain. Did you give them permission? No. You didn't only a privacy tech. That's it. You don't know what you've done. That's what the scenario is. Next. And we're seeing so many cyber attacks which are happening. And all big companies have been hacked, whether it's a Facebook or Equifax or Microsoft, every company is being hacked in some form or the other. They have lost money and the data was being siphoned off. Not that they didn't have the security. All of them had the security, which is the best in their domain, the best security architects, but still they were having the cyber attacks. Yeah, please join in. Yeah. I'll hold for a while. Just join. Settle down, fast. Next. So how many of you are coders? How many of you are software project managers in yourself? Or you want to do a project management in software designing, software engineering? Raise a bit more. Yeah? How many of you think that your software is not going to be hacked anytime? How many of you feel you create a software, you've done all your best to create that, and still it is being hacked? Or you feel that it's not going to be hacked ever? How many for yes? How many for no? How many for yes? It will be hacked? And how many for no? Yes, that's where we are. And just remember, any piece of software which you write is hackable today. Whether it's your firewall, whether it's your IPS, IDS, any form of device, it's just a misnomer that's protecting you. So that's where your project management comes in. That's where your DevSecOps comes in. That's where your agile programming comes in. That's where CI/CD comes in. Very important for you all. And data breaches are going to happen. It's not going to stop. It's really increasing, right? And we are in an existential threat, what we are seeing. This is going to bound to happen, right? And next. So if you go by figures, some of them, how many of you are aware of ransomware attacks? How many for yes? And how many who don't know about what is a ransomware attack? If you don't know, please come, because it's more of an interactive. It's a learning session. It's not a one-way communication. How many of you don't know about ransomware attack? Okay. To put it very simple, all of you have laptops to you. Do you have that? One fine morning, you come to the college, and when you switch it on, all of you find a screen in front of you. And the screen says that you've been hit by a ransomware. Now it's a mill-grade encryption, which is there, if you understand that. If you have to get the data back, you have to pay in Bitcoin till the time your complete college is hacked. What is the situation going to be? Commotion, chaos, right? And he is now asking for the money in Bitcoin to release your data. If you don't give your data, Bitcoins, he says, I will sell in the dark market. That's what is the process of ransomware, right? So it's more complex. I'm trying to explain in a very, very simplistic form. And while we are talking, every 11 seconds, there is a ransomware attack which is happening. And one of the studies says that by 2030, every 3 seconds, there is one attack which will happen. And the amount which they're asking is humongous. Last year, they, I think, taken around $2 billion. Okay. And every time you have been hit by a ransomware attack, it's not that, you just switch off the laptop, switch it on, everything is fine. Your complete university is going to be non-functional for next maybe 60 days, 50 days, 30 days, because how do you recover? At an average, it says around 21 days to 22 days, right? Yeah. So we are in a kind of security era which is quite complex. And when I say complex, 1995 to 2010, we were all believing in IPS, firewalls, IDS, and they were all kind of protection methods. That's what we've been talking. They were speed of sound, and they were into the spatial process. 2010 to 2025, what we are presently, we are in the speed of light. We are in a defensive mode. We are trying to defend ourselves rather than protect ourselves, right? And what are we looking at? We're focusing more on adaptive security. We are looking more for self-organizing cyber tools. We are talking of AI versus AI, right? That's a very common phrase everybody uses. There are more of temporal models based on AI and machine learning. So that's how the whole process is all about. Yeah, next. The other thing which you need to know what is happening, how the scenario of cybersecurity is really changing. Earlier, this is a building. You may be saying, why I'm showing you a building and what's great about this building. Earlier time, it was a monolithic environment. When I say monolithic environment, means everything, all your company employees, all your, like, take a university, all your university employees, your professors, your students, everybody's inside there. You have the firewalls, antivirus, machines, everybody inside. And all the threats are outside. You're protected, right? That's what we always felt. And we never thought of anything. And that's how, you may be too young when we saw antivirus coming up every, virus attack 6 months in a year or once a year, or that's how. Now the frequency is all changing. Yeah, next. But what's happening now? We are in a new paradigm. And what's this paradigm all about? It's a multi-cloud environment we are talking of. We are talking of the DevOps. We are using all those tools. We are using IoT sensors. The most amount of data which is being created is IoT based. We are in a workloads which are kind of distributed workloads. We are in a mobility, and we have a security which is more complex. I'll come to when we say complex is now the threats are kind of all spread over your perimeter, beyond the perimeter. That's how you have to change the whole thought process of your, working. Next. So what we have done, yesterday's IT was monolithic, everything inside, and known behavior, you had a manageable amount of data. You had an on-premise infrastructure, which was there. You had traditional threat environment, which came up. Okay, and now what we are seeing is microservices. That's how all the softwares are being created. We have got risky applications which are being developed. We are big data explosion, and that's what I told you, the amount of data which is being created today is so huge. And cloud and hybrid infrastructure, we are all moving towards cloud, and it's a nightmare when it comes for the security personnel, right? And it's an advanced threat environment, what we are seeing. And if you ask a CISO or any organization, if you've seen through, you ask him, he's got a whole lot of security, framework in place. He'll say, okay, I've got policies, I've got regulations with me, I've got the identity management, I've got data security, DLP, data classification, encryption, I've got application database security, I got the endpoint controls, endpoint security, I've got network security, I've got physical controls. I have to be safe. But do you think he's going to be safe? But why do the cyber attacks happen now? Anyone? Why do the cyber attack happen on an organization or a company? Why do they happen? Any reasons for it? I think some of you would have served outside, done a job and come back for management. Why does a cyber attack happen on a company? Despite, everything there in a good security company, good IT company or any organization which is there. Anyone? Anyone? Yep. Okay, great. Anyone else? The reasons are plain and simple. So we are not having any more signature-based attacks, and days of antiviruses are gone. It's more of new attacks which are machine learning based. So it's more challenging for us. They're more advanced, they're more focused. We are seeing APTs, just click. We're seeing APTs which are coming up. And signature-based technologies are not very sufficient. Earlier time, what everybody was doing was there's a virus which will come up, The company will build an antivirus, give you a solution, it's done. Today, it cannot happen because it's all anomaly based, threats which have come up. There are too many points of cybersecurity. They are all working in silos. And how do you identify the security when you're working in silos? So that's a problem. Okay. And you have a constantly emerging technologies. We are seeing IoTs coming up. We are seeing the Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0. We are seeing blockchain coming up. We are seeing the AI coming up. We are seeing Web3 coming up. There's so many technology layers after layers after layers which are coming up. And each device which you're adding brings in a threat, right? So that is how it really works. And the threat vectors keep on increasing. And there is a real lack of real situational awareness. You cannot, it's not, available on a single pane of glass, and we are all false sense of security. Will somebody say that I'm going to be hacked? Anyone? With conviction ki mera hack ho jayega? No. So we have a real sense of security, but still the cyber attacks do happen, right? Okay. Now, whenever this cyber attack happens, it's not that the attack happened and you have the time to react and you can do anything of your choice. You have only 10 minutes when a hacker attacks you to actually identify the attack. Okay. And thereafter, it takes months or years to identify the hacker is there in your network. In case of Equifax, it's almost 240 days, right? But what is a window of opportunity for you is the first 10 minutes where you can actually identify an attack and pin it down, right? Yeah, next. Other important factor, which is of concern to all of us, and especially in the cybersecurity domain, whenever you buy any cybersecurity equipment, we say, okay, I have got that threat in the company. So we'll buy a firewall, we buy so-and-so, we'll buy a DLP, endpoint protection, we'll buy a MDR, okay? Thinking that this is a risk. You do a gap assessment, you call a company, okay, you do a gap assessment and give it to me. He will give a gap assessment, tell you this is your risk, this is your vulnerability, this is your threat. Perfect. You bought the equipment. But now, after 1 month of all putting all these devices, you have an attack. The reason could be what could be the reason for this? Anyone? They're more advanced, yes. One of the reasons, perfect. Anyone? 1 month after putting all the devices in place, you have an attack. And you say, this is not the way we planned. What could be the reason for this? Please tell me the time. You can tell me what could be the reason for this? Anyone? Do all seasons of the year remain the same? No. Similarly, the risk, your threats, and the vulnerability also change. And we actually go, when we define or design a security framework, we always go, static. So Gartner came up with a terminology called CATA, and it said that it is a continuous adaptive risk and trust assessment. Okay. And that is how you need to identify what are the threats right now, what are the risks which I have right now, what are the vulnerabilities which I have right now. That is how you have to design a security which is very adaptive. And now you go back to the slide when I told you 2010 to 2025, you have to be more adaptive with the speed of light. So every slide, if you look at it, just mix match, you'll find what each word means, right? Yeah. So the other aspect is very interesting. One company buys a security solution, DLP le liya, endpoint, he bought it, you bought a SOC, and the company vendor will come and tell you, sir, they have bought it, you also buy it. I have given to those reference. Is this the right way of selling? Is it the right way of selling that I have given to one of the best companies, you also buy the same solution? Is this right? In the case of cybersecurity, other things may work, but in case of cybersecurity, anyone? The reason is yes. The reason is it's not one shoe fit all model in case of cybersecurity. You have different threats, you have different risks, you have different vulnerabilities. You need to have a different kind of solution for your organization. So you can't buy what others are buying because your threats are going to be different, right? Yeah. So what we need, that's what is important. We need to have a deep security awareness from staff to the board. And how does a cyber attack start? Anyone? How does a cyber attack start? How does a cyber attack? We have been talking of cyber attack. How does it start? Yeah. Clicking on anonymous link. Yeah, perfect. Anyone? Okay, perfect. You get an email. So all of you would have got the campus emails. You get an email from your director that you're doing pretty good. And I give you a 50% scholarship. Just click to accept the scholarship. How many of you will click? Have you understood the question? You get a scholarship, 50% off of your fees. How many of you are going to click? Yeah. Yes, I'll click it 50%. Yeah. So because this link will be a phishing email or a very spear phishing email, which is very targeted to you. And all the cyber attacks start from what? One click. And that could be the senior most in your organization or the junior most in your organization. Doesn't make a difference. Remember this. So all cyber attacks start with one click. So you have to have a deep security awareness from staff to board, management along with skilled security professionals. So remember, this is very, very important. You should have a knowledge about the behavior-based threat detection to identify anomalous behavior. You'll find a lot of things happening in your organization when you'll be out of your education institute. You should have zero blind spot. Zero blind spot means like in the security paradigm, we always see that there are shadow ITs, there are other devices which are there but not connected. Okay, but that's where you should have a zero blind spot visibility and a single pane of glass visibility across the entire network. One pane of glass for the security guys. They should know what's happening in your network. And very importantly, the 3 slides of the buildings which I showed you. Now, just think that I told you one factor, that all the threats are outside and you are inside. So what you are trying to do was you are trying to find out, which is a malware, which is a attack which is happening. Now you need to think and change the thought process. Instead of looking inward out, you have to look outward in. When I say outward in, that means you should be sitting outside, monitoring what is happening in your network, what's happening in your endpoint, what's happening in each of the software, devices, servers, switches, everything. That's how you need to change the whole paradigm of security, right? Then you should have a very continuous vulnerability assessment and patch management and mitigation. So that's what you should do it. And also have a continuous internal and external attack surface monitoring. So this is another area which is of real concern to us here. Next. So how you can do it? One of the areas or one of the methods is called the zero trust, where you trust no one. In the era of the attacks the way they are, you trust no one. When I say trust no one, trust no user, trust no device, trust no application, trust no process. That's where the things are going to be. And have a layered defense in the whole network. Then also do the configuration hardening of the complete network, which is possible, real-time threat intelligence, integration, and autocorrelation, which you should do it. And also have the orchestration and automation. Now, how many of you have served in the companies and come for the course? Organizations, all of you, most of you? Okay, yeah. So if you have a cyber attack on your organization, whom are you going to tell about it? And when are you going to tell about it? Or you're going to be sitting quiet or tight? Say again? You got to be louder. IT department. Okay. No, IT department, just leave that as a company. You're the CEO of the company now. Okay. Stakeholders. Who else? End users. Okay. Customers. Fine. Anybody else? Okay. Now, CERT India came up with a policy in 2022 that if you have a cyber attack which happens, you got to inform CERT India within 6 hours of you coming to know about this attack. Okay. This is a mandatory requirement. It's not for the government. It's for any of the organizations per se. Right. And everybody has to follow. So if you have a cyber attack, you just can't sit tight on it. You need to tell CERT India. So you go onto the site, there's a proper process where you can inform them about the attack. And what do you tell them? You have to give them information about your logs of your networks. And that's what is called SOAR, that's the security operation, orchestration, automation, and remediation. So that's what you do it. And you should have a very personalized architecture and the platforms for yourself. Next. Now, how many from the IT background? Only a few. How many of you understand CIA? Confidentiality, integrity, and authorization. Availability, sorry. CIA. How many of you understand? Yeah. Now, in cyberspace, we talk of the confidentiality is the most important. That's why we have encryptions. We try to make ourselves safe. That's why you try to keep your data, right? Confidentiality. But with AI now coming in, how it's going to be? If anybody has got a thought about it, if you have an AI, is the confidentiality important? Is the confidentiality important when it comes to AI? Just next. Next. The right one, instead of confidentiality, now I am bothered about the integrity of the data. Okay. And I move the confidentiality a layer below and put the availability as it is. Because in times to come, when we talk of AI, 2 attacks. We all saw the Rashmika Mandana case, right? Deepfakes. Yeah. And what is that called? Deepfakes is a terminology which is more market oriented. What is the technology behind it? Deep learning. Anyone else? Generative AI. Anyone else? Okay. It's called GAN, G-A-N. It's a generative adversarial network. And that is called an adversarial AI. That means I'm working against the AI. Okay. And it came into being in 2014 by one of the guy who was doing his, PhD degree. He wrote this algorithm called Ayan Goodfellow. And deepfake started from there. Okay. And the second important facet of this kind of technology is called, we all talk of data. We all talk of good data, right? And we think everything is good. How many of you would have thought of data poisoning? Have you heard of data poisoning? How many of you? 1. What is data poisoning? Because AI models are, when we talk of generative AI, it's different. When you talk of AI, it's input to output. If I give the wrong input, I'll get the wrong output. If I give venomous input, it will give me a poisoned output. And what you're going to see is all poisoned. That is the adversarial AI, which is already in now. Yeah. So 10 commandments from your project management side. So which you should incorporate in any of your projects, which you look in for. 1 is security by design. Gaurav, this time is okay. Security by design. That's what you need to do. You should have a compliance integration in the design itself, so that all the compliances which are there, you incorporate those into your design of your software at the software development stage. You should put in your data privacy integration in design. Okay, that should be incorporated. And like we spoke initially, that any software code which is there is hackable. So if you're going to do this, at least you're obviating the chances of you getting hacked, right? You can get into OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, try and work on those for mobiles, for your applications, your APIs, all of them. You should have secure APIs. And why I'm talking about the secure APIs is because most of the cyber attacks which happen are through the API. Okay, so the API security becomes very, very important. Then is secure coding practices, which you should have it so that any error handling, your input validations, use of libraries and functions, they are proper, right? Because just imagine, like I spoke of, you are not sitting in a monolithic that you made a software, every line of code you've written is a perfect line of code. Because the line of codes, what you have written may be perfect for you, may be a bug for somebody else. Okay, that's very important. So if you are working in a heterogeneous environment where you have different kind of applications which are running, you have to have a very secure coding methodologies which you should put it. Then you should do the vulnerability assessment of the complete software. You should do the penetration testing of the software. You should have the user authentication and authorization. You should get in the RABAC model, that's a role-based access control model for controlled user access, which you should do it. You should do the configuration management, okay? And check on the secure configuration practices so that there's no misconfiguration which happens. Also, you should have the security documentation. Whenever you're developing any software, you should have the whole documentation which should be threadbare, properly written, so that anybody who picks up is able to understand as to what you did. And the continuous compliance monitoring. So what are you doing is you should have the ongoing compliance monitoring and auditing process, which is very important, right? And this is what is your DevSecOps. You need to incorporate the security right at the development stage, okay, with the look left model so that you keep on checking what you develop. And when we do the plan, release, deploy, monitor, respond, test, build, and code, the whole cycle, we need to have the right security tools which you can use it to develop the software. So there are a whole lot of tools we can always discuss which can be implemented. If you're interested, I can take it offline as well. But continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous deployment pipeline is the key for any software development and especially for the project management. Okay. Okay, just one word about the blockchain. Okay, and I being from the blockchain also, does everything require a blockchain to be implemented? All the processes which are there can be implemented using blockchain? Yes, no? If I have to tell, if your boss tells you, okay, let's implement a blockchain, what are you going to do? What would be the first step which you think you should do to implement a blockchain? Because, all over the internet, if you see today, you find so many images which are there, and every industry says that we are going to implement blockchain. But the blockchain is not got implemented like that. Has it been, or I'm mistaken? So what is the step which you should follow? And that's a management step, is a project management step. Very important. How many of you know design thinking? How many? Just raise hand. Yeah, this is a key subject, design thinking today. And I'm very sure you will be scoring all distinction marks. So that is what you should be doing for any blockchain project, because all processes don't need blockchain. All use cases don't need blockchain. Do a design thinking before implementing a blockchain project. Otherwise, it's a waste. Don't do it. Okay. And that's very important from a project manager, because your boss will tell, okay, you know about blockchain, let's do this project. What's the usability? What's the applicability? What's the, ROI on that? Whether it's getting integrated to the real-time systems. That's most important. Yeah. Just one slide I missed out. I think. Last slide. Let's go. Hold up. Just, I want to show you the future of cybersecurity because that's very important for you. So let me give you this. That's this slide's got missed. Slides, some slides actually I missed it out. If you're working on the AI projects, it's going to be era of AI versus AI, where AI is going to be for defense and AI is also going to be for the offense, right? The hacker are going to be equally attacking you. And before I ask that particular question, how many of you feel we have already arrived at AI? Yeah. How many of you feel we have already arrived at AI? आपने हाथ खड़ा किया नीचे क्यों कर लिया? If you're confident, tell me. Yeah. How many of you feel? Put it high, yeah. You got young people, all of you. How many of you feel we have not reached the AI yet? Okay. Anyone who says we have reached AI, who can tell we have reached AI? Anyone who can stand up and tell me? Anyone? Okay, what are the phases of AI? Or stages of AI? Not the generative AI, just keep it on side. LLM and generative AI, just keep it on side. What are the phases of AI? Pardon? Generative AI is actually what has happened is everybody is talking about generative AI. They have all forgotten the actual AI now. Right? What are the phases of AI? Okay. There are 3 phases of AI, which you should all know it. And accordingly, just work it out where we are in AI. Okay. One is the supervised AI, where you're putting in data, you get the output. You have the algorithms, you run it, you get the output. That's where you get the data analytics, you get more of knowledge. Second is a semi-supervised AI. Now, what does a semi-supervised AI would do? Where, it is taking the feedback system, trying to create something different, semi-supervised. It's getting more intelligent. That's where your predictive intelligence will come in. And the third layer is an unsupervised AI. The unsupervised AI is actually AI writing code against AI. That's where the robos will be working. A robo which is being trained for something and it becomes intelligent, it can do other thing as well. That's a semi-supervised AI. Okay. And that is how the future is going to be. So we are at a cusp of supervised AI and semi-supervised AI. Okay. Generative AI and LLM are the disruptors. Okay. They are the disruptors. Understand this when I'm saying so. They only generate the data as the new data. Okay. But all the algorithms which are there at the cusp of semi-supervised and and unsupervised and the supervised and semi-supervised. The next stage is going to be the cusp of semi-supervised and unsupervised. And unsupervised is we are all scared of that AI. That's where you would have heard that the robots will take over humans. Okay, and that is after 2030 or 2035. That's where all the studies hint at. So all the developments happen. When we talk of AI coming in, it's not that the AI is being just one of the use cases. When we see the complete implementation of the AI. The other aspect, which is important, how many of you feel the blockchain is in and we are done with it? We're done with the blockchain. How many? How many of you know blockchain? Perfect. And how many of you don't know blockchain? Please put up your hands. Very important. Anybody who knows about blockchain, please tell your friends. I'll take a couple of minutes before I wind up. Right? I'm eating into your time, sorry. Anybody can explain a blockchain?
Guys, let's make this interactive. There was a guy at the back who raised a hand. Would you like to speak up?
Yeah, please, be quick. This is a learning session. So that's what I'm telling you. That's why I don't want to make a monologue. I would have stood behind and given you a talk 15 minutes short. I know my slides will finish. I'm back in the chair again.
Hi, sir. So my name is Aditya Sharma. So if I want to explain blockchain in very simple terms, it's the data is stored in one block after the another, and the data of the first block is stored in a encrypted manner, which links to the block in the back. So this creates a set of blocks containing data. Depending on the usage, for example, cryptocurrency, it shows which user has how much currency, and we can use it for different purposes.
Okay, perfect. Blockchain in a very simple terms is, all of you use internet, okay? And it's a centralized environment. Everybody knows this. It's a centralized environment. Like you want to access Google, you put a link and you get a Google information. In a blockchain, it's a decentralized environment. It's a distributed environment. That means you yourself are having the data in you. And all of you have the same data amongst yourself. So next time, when you ask for the information will be from you node. In node, you will have blocks. In blocks, you'll have ledger and the information. And that is updated to every one person of you. Okay? And they're all linked with what? They're linked with one called hash key, cryptographic key, which is linking. And that is what cannot be broken. This is encrypted. Okay? That is what is the block. And the chains which are being created are called the chains. And all of you are part of the blockchain thereafter. Knowing what's happening, in any of the networks. Now, why this is very important for you all? Blockchain we saw started coming in, earlier 1992, then 2009 when Satoshi Nakamoto came in. And thereafter, what has happened is 2017, we saw so many use cases of blockchain coming up. Then it started dying their natural death. Now we are seeing the impetus again picking up for the blockchain. And very important for you, by 2027, it's going to really disrupt the way you work. So you are not going to be working anymore in a client-server environment. It's going to be a distributed environment. You're all going to be working on Web3 by 2027, 2028, right? The banks are getting disrupted. Say, for example, the banks, your KYC, which is there, that is getting on blockchain. Your CBDC, all of you use Paytms? Yeah? How many of you are using CBDCs? Anyone? Anyone of you have heard about CBDC? So the central bank, the RBI has come up with a digital coin, which is on blockchain, right? Which is a CBDC. CBDC is central bank digital currency. And all your applications hereafter are getting converted on blockchain. And that's what I was telling you. You need to know, or you need to do the design thinking before implementing any blockchain project. Okay, you just can't say, okay, let's implement. It cannot happen, and it will not be successful. You'll fall flat. Now, coming back to the AI. So all of you are into the project management, and if you're very keen on projects of AI, some of the ideas which I want to give it to you. So this is one is where you can do it for malware detection. You can build up solutions around that. You can build up smart botnets using the AI tools. You can have the spear phishing. This is offensive. This is the first one is the defensive. I think yeah. So malware detection, you can find out the malwares using AI. You can have the SOC, that's the SOC, IPS, IDS, and honeypots using the AI. You can have the anti-spam filters being created using AI. You have the vulnerability management using AI. you have the data classification of your whole data using AI, and you can do the threat intelligence using AI. Okay, so these are the areas. There's a lot of work, a lot of companies are putting in their money. Startups are really trying to work on these kind of things. So good ideas for you as well. Yeah. And when it comes to the offensive part of it, this is more of the from the hacker side, but nevertheless, this is what is an opportunity. There's a malware creation, because if you're in a government side, you need to, catch the criminal. Will have to develop a malware. Smart botnets, which are there, the smart spear phishing, which you can do using the offensive AI, adversarial AI, which we already spoke of, conditional attacks using blockchain based smart contracts, and classify victims you can do using the AI, right? So this is the areas which are of quite an interest when you have to do the AI. Yeah, next. And when it comes to the governance, your secure, your vigilance, and your resilience, so these are areas you can, the complete GRC you can do using the AI. Yeah, just go on to the next. Next. Yeah. Next. Next. Yeah. So before I close, now vision what in cybersecurity, which we look at, is 2020 is all about, we were there, is the integrated security, which is IoT. We are all looking for the IoT security, manage integration, cyber physical systems. We talk about the OT security quite a bit. And then it's 2025, right? In 2025, we are talking of the adaptive security. That's AI based, right? And transition to global real-time AI ML cyber application. That's what I told you, very big area which you can work on. And third is your scenario 2040. And what's that? It's a neural security. And in neural security, we are going to have the enterprise-wide development, deployment of real-time AI-based cyber defenses. This is how the changing times we are going to also, change the way we do the cybersecurity aspect of it. Okay. With this, I come to the end of the talk. Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be part of you. And any questions, if you have, please ask me. I've overshot the time.
That's okay, Dr. Colonel. So, guys, any questions that you have, please feel free to ask questions, and let's make this session interactive. You didn't, for sure. It was a very, very interactive session. So thank you so much for that. But in case you have any questions,
we'll take it offline. Anyone, any questions if you have, please ask me. Yep.
Yeah.
So what a wonderful and insightful session, Colonel. So my question is around Gen AI. As we are seeing, there is a lot of buzzwords around Gen AI and the advancement. So how do you see the role of Gen AI on cybersecurity, as well as what implications you see while we implement Gen AI applications?
Okay. So primarily, Gen AI is going to give, from the application perspective, let me just tell you, the whole lot of Gen AI as a horizontal platform, what we are using. There are a lot of applications which we are trying to develop on the large language models which are there. And what is the difference between AI and LLM or Gen AI? What is the difference between the AI and Gen AI? What's it? We've been using this term very often now. It's become a buzzword, very common. LLM, what's it?
neural network.
What is it? Anyone?
Anyone who's aware.
Because this is most important for you guys, Anyone? Quick, because other speaker is also there and I'm eating into his time. Not good. Let me show you the whole, this is not my part of the talk, but I'm just moving out of it and coming back. So practically what you have is the overall is AI. you have a machine learning, you have the deep neural networks, the DNN, what we call the deep learning, what we call it. Thereafter, we have the language models. And when you look at the language models, we have the BERT, we have the large language models, we have BRAD, ChatGPT 3, 4, LLMA. Then we have the audio video generation models. We have the stable diffusion, DALI. All of you are using that, images. Those are the diffusion model. This is generative AI model. The one which you're seeing is a generative AI model. And the transformer model is what you're already seeing, the Alexa. Okay, so that is there. Google Maps are there as your deep neural model. This is how the whole structure is there. Now, again, my question, what is the difference between AI and Gen AI? I have shown you the queue now, given you the queue. Anyone? This is important. Okay, let's lead the last line now. So AI, data in, data out, perfect. Everybody is clear about it. The generative AI, it focuses on what? It is going to create the new data. Okay, that is what is the difference from AI and generative AI. And it relies on the use of large language models. Okay, and perform the task needed to create the new data. So whenever you put anything in ChatGPT, it's trying to create the data. Whereas when you do it in Google, what does it do? It searches the data and gives it to you. Okay, and AI, what do they do? They do predictive intelligence, they do prescriptive intelligence, they were talking of cognitive intelligence. Those are the kind of things. And what does a LLM does? It's an AI program that uses machine learning to perform the natural language processing. You understand the terminology, so this is important. And LLMs are trained on a large data sets to understand, summarize, and generate and predict new content. You understood what's the AI and difference between AI and Gen AI? I hope. Yeah? Yes, no? Very important. Gen AI, you're creating a new data. Remember. And AI is where you're getting the input, you're running all the algorithms, make it intelligent, and give you the data. Okay? Coming back to your question. So LLMs are the future, they're disruptive, number one. So each of the areas or applications which are there, whether it's a chatbot, your processes, whether your business cases, you try and write using LLMs, right? So like in India also, we are trying to work it out. There's a Krishi chatbots you were seeing. We have come up with the India Bharat AI itself. Now, I'm just mistaken. Bharat chatbot, ChatGPT. Okay, that's also been developed. Okay, that's where we are. Whereas when it comes to the cybersecurity aspect of it, the ChatGPT, the Gen AI, we're already seeing the worms getting created. We are seeing the fraud GPT being created. We are seeing the phishing emails which are being created using the ChatGPT, which are very authentic. Okay, so we are already seeing ransomware attacks, which are going to be using the GPTs, ChatGPT, not the the GPTs. Okay, so this is how the more focused attacks will be there. Very difficult to identify. So the scenario is all changing. Got it? Anyone? Okay. So let me close it here, I think. Thank you. So if anybody wants to be in touch, for sure, it will be a pleasure. This is my number. You can get in touch with me, anyone, if you require. Thank you. Thank you, Gauravji, Jayji, and Sarinji. So it's a really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colonel Dr. Singh. That was a very, very interactive session. As you rightly said, you didn't let them sleep. And I'm sure it is going to be very, very interactive going forward as well for rest of the sessions. But before we let you go, I would like to call on stage Mr. Jay Kumar, President PMI North India Chapter, for the felicitation ceremony. A thank you note from PMI North India Chapter. So thank you so much, Dr. Colonel Singh, for a very, very interactive session. For everyone who's here, this is a tree certificate which we are presenting to Colonel Dr. Singh, along with a small memento from PMI North India chapter. So you're planting trees under his name. So thank you so much, Colonel Dr. Singh. Thank you, Jay. Moving on, I'm happy to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Bhupesh Janoti, a seasoned cybersecurity professional serving as a senior consultant at the Data Security Council of India. With an extensive 14 years of experience, he brings a wealth of knowledge to the realm of cybersecurity. His expertise is rooted in industrial control systems and operational technologies, and he has made significant contributions to critical infrastructure companies in the power and energy sector. Bhupesh's work spans the intricate landscape of operational technology cybersecurity consulting for critical information infrastructure, reflecting his commitment to fortifying the backbone of essential services. Currently associated with Data Security Council of India, a leading industry body dedicated to cybersecurity and data protection, Bhupesh plays a pivotal role in advancing initiatives that foster a safe, secure, and trusted cyberspace. Data Security Council of India is an initiative by NASSCOM, is at the forefront of shaping the cybersecurity landscape in India through its diverse programs and unwavering commitment to cyberspace resilience. So here I welcome Mr. Bhupesh Janoti for his talk. A big round of applause for Mr. Janoti. Let's extend him a warm welcome.
Good afternoon. So I'm honored to be present here today at IMT Ghaziabad. Let me take this opportunity to thank PMO Global Alliance, PMI North India chapter. I'm privileged to address such a distinguished audience here on a topic that is relevant and crucial in this ever-evolving digital landscape. So going forward, I've got a lot good insights from Colonel already on AI and the emerging technologies. And I see a lot of students, bright students here, specifically from the project management. So I think this he has already covered. These are the attacks that we see. The DDoS attack. He has talked about the hacking, the phishing attacks, the virus attacks, and the password hacking. Many attacks he has already discussed. So as we stand here in 2024, I'll take you back in year 2010 when I was a bright student, young student like you. I just joined an organization in a power sector. Basically, I was there in the instrumentation and control department. So I used to work in the automation part of it. So there we had 4 units. So luckily, I got a chance in the project phase as well and the operation and maintenance phase as well to work there. So I closely work with operation team over there, enabling the 24/7 power availability in the organization. So being in the automation part, one of on one fine day, my HOD called me and asked me that, you know, that Stuxnet has happened. So I was not aware what Stuxnet is all about. So that day, he said that Stuxnet is one of the cyber attacks that has recently came into picture, wherein the Iran's nuclear facility was under the cyber attack, and it crippled and collapsed. So this attack happened long back. I think it started in 2007, but it was so smooth, so precise that none of the Iranian authorities could detect that attack. So that attack happened on through a malicious software onto the industrial control systems, wherein they attacked the control systems in such a way that the process gradually crippled and over the time completely collapsed and to a situation that it could not be revived back. So I was clueless that why he is explaining this to me. Uh, Being a young engineer, I was not in a mood to listen all that stuff from him. But then he said one thing. So imagine you are working in a critical infrastructure, you are working in a power generation company. If this happens to you, what would be the consequences? So I was clueless about that. I was not knowing what could be the consequences. So he said, you prepare a report on our vulnerabilities and the things where, on the areas where we can be exploitable in this domain. So I started. I was having a very little knowledge about things. All I understood was that we should not use USB drives, right? So that is what I all had the knowledge about. So I went inside my control room. I assessed the area. I checked. So there was no cameras installed, so anybody could come in and go. Nobody would ever notice that. I noticed that there was no access control in the room. Then gradually I checked other things as well. I mean, anybody could plug in their devices to the control system. Anybody could make the logic changes. So there was everything was, I mean, all the hardware and software, everything was obsolete. So being a young engineer, I prepared my report, and with the limited budget that we had in our organization, we implemented the basic hygiene. So we implemented video cameras, we installed USB lockers, we had the access control, and so that's the basic hygiene that we maintained over there. So going forward, it went almost for 4 years. Was everything was normal. Then I joined another organization, power generation sector, which was a bigger organization. When I say bigger, that was bigger in terms of the capacity that it was catering to. So this time also, I think that was the year 2014, when Windows XP was just got expired in terms that Microsoft all of a sudden, they were giving the extended support, and all of a sudden they said that from April onwards, we are not going to give you the support of Windows. So being an organization, had it been my home, so I would have continued with that. But since it was an organization so we had to make changes because we need support from Microsoft. So my HOD gave me a project that you should look how we can take it forward and how we can do the upgradation part. So I started. So this time I had evolved since 2010 to 2014. So this time I knew that I have to make the policies. I have to do the network segmentation. I planned that I'll make a separate network on top of the industrial control network. And I will implement the demilitarized zones. I will implement the continuous threat detection. So many plans I made. I proposed to the management and the budget was approved. So finally, the OEM, I reached out to the original equipment manufacturer. In our case, it was Schneider Electric. So I reached out to them and I asked that we want to do this upgradation, and the management has approved our budget. So this time I have taken this as a KRA, as a goal in my KRA. So I got an answer from Schneider that since there is a issue that is going in the semiconductor space, so anything and everything that will be available is the lead time would be minimum 8 months. So that I was not prepared for that. So that was something I was never prepared for the issues that a supply chain would have uh, in this domain. So so gradually we implemented things. So the implementation was so slow that we had 2 units. We started with Windows 7 in one of the units where the Windows XP got expired. So by the end of completion of this upgrade in Unit 1, Windows 7 already got expired. Windows 7 also got expired. So these were the challenges that I faced. I mean, so that in middle of a project, another Microsoft version gets expired. So it was not that we not wanted and wanted to go that slow, but it was dependent on many the environment conditions that we were facing, right? So it was just we cannot do things on a live environment. We cannot make changes on the live environment. So being a critical sector, our role was to ensure that the power availability is there when we are asked to do so. So we cannot shut down the unit as in when we are required to do that. So the process was so gradual that to replace one network switch onto the network, we cannot just plug and play the network, remove a network switch and just plug in the another network switch, because a version difference of a higher grade version network switch to a lower grade network switch might collapse the overall network, and the availability could be a big a big threat. So so there was huge penalties associated with it. The downtime would lead reputational loss, may get out of business as well, right? May get us out of business as well. So, but these things were important, right? These things were important because a cyber hack may lead to a business disruption as well, right? So a cyber hack may lead to safety risk. Once you are in a plant, a cyber hack may lead to a financial losses, may lead to the environmental damage, loss of confidentiality and integrity may happen. And the reputational damage, obviously, that will be a part of that. And obviously, being a critical infrastructure, we have to follow a lot of regulatory compliances. So that could be one of the issues that we may face if a cyber breach happens. So why is that so that we could not do and implement things in a single go, and why were the conditions like that? So if we understand that initially the critical infrastructures were, or let's say the manufacturing projects across the globe were designed for safety and availability. But as we evolved, the data became crucial and operation excellence came into picture, where every component is now being analyzed from the perspective of efficiency. So the data which was now until in the plant itself is now going towards going to a CEO desk, and the CEO might be sitting in a different state or maybe in a different country. So the data, the operational data initially that was restricted to the plant itself is now in the IT environment. And once it is in the IT environment, it is more susceptible to risk, more susceptible to cyber attacks. So now with this digitization happening, organizations are not looking just for digitization. They are also looking for the digitalization, where they want the business transformation to happen with this digitization. But at this juncture, let me say that organizations are still clueless about their cyber maturity. And of course, there are many governance challenges as well. So, so if it is known to us, then where we are lagging? We know that in organizations, everything is driven from the top. It is often said that everybody is trying to fulfill their manager's goal, right? But that's true in every sense as well, because that's how ultimately you are going to narrow up to the organization's goal, right? So right now, the challenge is that many of the organizations, they're still missing, the cybersecurity is still missing in the purpose, mission, vision, values in their statement, right? So that is one of the big challenge I see. Another challenge is that is missing in the KRAs and KPIs of the individuals in the organizations. So there is not much discussion happening in the board meetings right now about the cyber. And it is also very difficult to quantify cyber risk in terms of the money losses. So that is pretty logical, right? Until now, the project design was just to cater safety and availability. Now, cybersecurity is very much required to protect the business and assets and the information. So until now, the KRAs and the goals of the individuals was to maintain 100% availability. But now, all of a sudden, the cybersecurity is very much required for a business availability, right? So it is not just that the board meetings doesn't want to discuss cyber. The problem is that board has very less representation of people who understand cyber, right? And it is very difficult for organizations to quantify cyber because they are quantifying a thing which has still not happened, right? Cyber is a cost incurring thing. We are investing in a thing which might not ever happen, right? But one attack may ultimately collapse the overall system. So quantifying cyber is also one of the biggest challenge that the industry is facing right now, wherein the CISOs are facing difficulties to express the risk in terms of money to the board, wherein the board then will allocate the budget to the CISO. So that is one of the challenge that the industry is facing right now. So the biggest challenge for the project managers right now is to align the people, process, and technology. We discussed about the people, we discussed about the processes, we discussed about the technology, the limitations of them. So that is the biggest challenge that the project managers are facing right now. So two universal constraints that any project has, we know, that is time and money. So in today's hyper-connected world, where every click and transaction leaves a digital footprint, the imperative of robust cybersecurity measures looms than ever before, right? So cyber crime is projected to inflict losses exceeding $10 trillion globally by 2025, right? So let me give you a figure that 60% of the small companies that go out of business within 6 months of a cyber attack. So this is the condition that is globally happening right now. So today's cybersecurity implementation of cybersecurity faces a lot of challenges. A lot of challenges when I say skill shortage, like Dr. Colonel also mentioned about it, and the talent acquisition, right? So we do not have people who have the right skills. When I say in the critical infrastructure, so there is lot many difference between the operational technology and the IT. So people who doesn't who are in the operational technology, they are much 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 diverted towards the process part, where the people towards the IT doesn't understand the process. So that is a skill gap that is there, and talent acquisition is definitely another part. And keeping up with the rapid changing technology is another challenge because as we discussed that AI is coming, right? In future, people are going towards the quantum computing, right? So wherein the calculations which earlier used to take 15 years, 20 years, will be calculated in just seconds. So that's how things are evolving, and that's how we have to evolve as a project leaders. So and the threats are also evolving constantly, right? So as we evolve in terms of technology, the bad actors are evolving much faster. So that's also one of the challenge that the project managers are facing. Regulatory compliances are also one of the challenges, because these regulatory compliances are more of a generic compliances, but every requirement of every business is very different, and they might not be able to cater to those regulatory compliance. So this is also one of the challenge in industry right now. And of course, balancing security and business needs is another big challenge, because how much security is enough? So there is no limit to it, right? At this juncture, a project manager should assess the actual requirements that a business should need, that a business needs, and we should design the security according to that. So looking at the scenario, if cybersecurity is not included in the project management, both time and money can be under no control, right? So I personally feel that a project with a lot of challenges in such a rapid dynamic changing environment, wherein foreseen uncertainties and unforeseen uncertainties are just normal, right? I feel projects which deal with more foreseen uncertainty should focus on planning, whereas the projects which deals with the more unforeseen uncertainty should learn, should give emphasis on the learning and should evolve with those learnings. So for the project managements, you are many project management students are here. One should have a project systematic system approach to deal with this scenario, right? So basically, project, as Dr. Colonel also mentioned, that project should be thought of right from the design, right from the inception. If I take 3 phases of a project, right from the conception, execution, and the delivery in use, so we should define the projects under 3 categories. We should define the assets. What are the assets? Let's say specifically in the conception phase, in the execution phase, and the delivery phase, and what are the asset values of those derived assets. So if I say in the conception phase, project ideas, proposal, justification, feasibility study, business strategy, and management personnel are the assets. What could be the asset value? The asset value could be intellectual property, research and development cost, the potential return on investment, competitive advantage, proprietary knowledge, and personal safety. Whereas in the execution phase, the assets could be product requirement, project plans, legacy database, legacy data code, project management artifacts, technical project infrastructure, work in progress hardware and software, project team, project stakeholders. And what could be the asset value? The asset value could be sensitive information, business value, physical safety, replacement cost, R&D cost, R&D savings, reverse engineering opportunities. So these can be the asset values. And similarly, for the delivery in use, the assets could be deployment process, deployment team, embedded crime components, working systems, operational employees, updated process. And what could be the asset values? The asset values could be deployment success, realized product benefits, product safety, product reliability, personal safety, and the CIA. So if the project, basically the project manager's role should be identifying these asset values and to think about how these asset values need to be protected at each stage, right? So from a cyber risk management perspective, project managers should have clear understanding of the frameworks, compliances, and the policies and the cyber laws. Also, project managers should be well aware of the cyber security and the data security risk at each stage and should be ready with incident response plan to respond if at all any attack happens. So in this journey towards a secure project management environment, implementing cybersecurity is not just a one-time solution. Rather, its need our involvement, continuous involvement, and adaptation to the emerging threat landscape. right? So because we know that any product, any project that we are a part of is built with trust. When I say trust, that is trust from the stakeholders, trust from the team members, uh, and the wider community. So with this in my mind, I'll take a pause here. Would say thank you to IMT for having me here. Would be happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Mr. Janoti. Guys, any question from your side? Feel free to ask questions. No questions? No questions at all. Seems like everything was clear. All right. In that case, I would like to extend a big thank you to you, Mr. Janoti. But before we let you go, I would like to call on stage Mr. Gaurav Dupar for the felicitation. Mr. Gaurav Dupar, President PMO Global Alliance, India Hub. Can we have you on stage, please? Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Janoti. That was very, very informative session. A small thank you note from our side. This is a tree certificate. We've planted a tree under your name. Thank you. And a small token of love from PMI North India chapter and PMO Global Alliance. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Janoti, and thank you, Gaurav. Before we proceed further, we would like to play a recorded message from Mr. Vinay Godse, who's CEO, DSCI, and he'll be giving the introduction of DSCI. So can we play that, please? Thank you.
But how to do this kind of things, right? But we'll talk to that later.
Thank you. So that was a quick introduction about DSCI, the body with which Mr. Janoti is associated with. So thank you so much for your talk. Now, moving on, we were supposed to have our third speaker, Dr. Duggal, present in person. However, because of some unforeseen circumstances, because of his prior commitments, he could not make it in person. But as you all know that we are having this session online as well. So he has managed to join us online. So let's extend him warm welcome. And before we bring him here online, I would like to invite someone from the tech team so that we can display the screen here and we all here, sitting here, can see Mr. Dr. Duggal. Can we do that, please? Dr. Duggal. I just got to know that he hasn't joined yet. So he'll be joining us online soon. In the meantime, guys, our speakers are here. In case you have any questions, we can take up those questions. Any questions? No questions? Seems to be a silent group. So if I may ask, what are you guys studying? So you are from which stream? Anyone? Finance? Marketing? IT? Okay. And how many of us have worked in organizations before? Raise your hands. Okay. After working, you joined IMT Ghaziabad, right? So what kind of organizations you were joined? Anyone would like to speak? What kind of organizations you were working before you joined IMT Ghaziabad? And what was the kick? Why did you want to join back studies? Yeah, there's a gentleman in the back who has raised his hand. Would you like to speak? Yeah. Can we give him mic, please? Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Your name,
Hi, I'm
please?
Suraj Srivastava.
Hi, Suraj. So you were associated with which organization?
So, ma'am, it was a startup. So we were actually importing a few organic products from Ladakh, and we were selling it in Mumbai.
All right.
And before
And
that, again, I was working with a startup. I have a work with 2 companies.
all right. That's great. Good to know that, Suraj. But as in currently you're studying at IMT Ghaziabad.
Yeah.
And what was the motive? Why did you join back studies and what stream you've joined? And what is the course that you're doing right now?
Currently, I'm pursuing PGDM marketing. So I just wanted to get more knowledge into sales and analytics because the previous business which I was working with, it was my idea, which I associated with investor and I worked on. So, but it failed after a certain period of time, which I feel that I should have learned more about analytics and sales. And I needed a bit more in-depth insights and knowledge about marketing world or maybe businesses. So that's why I came for MBA.
Right. Good to know that. So were you doing this before joining this course? As in, were you handling the similar kind of profile, or it just like occurred to you that I want to do this course?
No, so I was into sales and marketing. So
All right.
that's why I opted for marketing.
All right. And you thought that it's it's better for you to brush up your skills and then get into the industry again after brushing up your skills, right?
Yes, so I wanted to learn more about how actually businesses work in a larger environment. So because I was initially I was a part of startup, so I wanted to get into the more depth and more complexity of the world. So that's why I wanted to understand it in a deeper. So before going into that, I wanted to learn more about it and then go into.
Right. That's great. Good to know that, Suraj. Thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else would like to speak up who has come from industry and has joined IMT Ghaziabad and would like to share his or her experience? Yes, please.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, my name is Aditya Sharma.
Hi,
So
Aditya.
before coming here, I worked with 3 different companies. The first company I worked with, I did my BTech in electronics and communication, but straight out of college, I joined a startup which specialized in computer vision based products. They did computer vision sorting for products like bottle labels. They used to do it for fasteners. And I did GTM strategy there. After that, I had my own startup, which was based in skill development and talent recognition. After that, I joined the fintech-based blockchain company that did end-to-end P2P and OTC cycles for the retail. They wanted to be a supply chain orchestrator in the digital form and use digital blockchain to increase the cybersecurity. That was one of the issues. So we worked with big companies. The thing is, straight out of college, after not having much knowledge in marketing, I dove into GTM strategy and I worked at the CEO founder's office. The moment I realized at my last job that I didn't have enough experience to, take this forward. So this is why I joined in a B school to kind of understand more. After this, I'll be working in digital business transformation for the company that I'll be working in.
So you're in which year?
Second year.
Second year.
Yes.
Second year. All right. Great. Good luck. And good to know your journey. Thank you so much. Anyone who has not been part of any organization and is doing a course here? Who's been a student throughout his or her life? Anyone who would like to speak up? And what are their aspirations? What do they think about corporates? Anyone? I see a lot of smiling faces. Speak up. Yeah, would you like to share? Anyone? How many of you have joined IMT Ghaziabad and have been student throughout their life? Can you raise your hands? So all of you have industry experience, that means? That's my takeaway. Anyone else who has industry experience would like to share their industry experience?
After the conference, I was not well. You can ask ma'am.
I see Dr. Pavan Duggal has joined. Thank you so much, Dr. Duggal, for taking out time and joining us online. Can you hear us, Dr. Duggal? Dr. Duggal, thank you so much for taking out time. Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Ma'am, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great. Thank you so much for taking out time. We understand because of certain circumstances, you could not join us in person, but thank you so much for taking out time and joining us online.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure.
So as we all know that we are here for this conference and we have our third speaker, Dr. Duggal, joining us online. Before I hand over the mic to him for his talk, a quick introduction about him. Dr. Duggal is an advocate at Supreme Court of India and the chairman of International Commission on Cybersecurity Law. He's not just a legal expert, he's a pioneer shaping the landscape where law and technology converge. He's the founder of Pawan Duggal Associates, India's niche technology firm, which focuses on intersection of law and technology. This boutique law firm has expanded its scope to a variety of emerging legal areas of discipline in digital and mobile ecosystem, and its work is also recognized by Asia Legal 500. Dr. Duggal is also the president of cyberlaws.net and has been working in pioneering area of cyber law, cybersecurity law, and mobile law. Dr. Duggal is also heading the Artificial Intelligence Law Hub and Blockchain Law Epicenter. He is the founder cum honorary chancellor of Cyber Law University. Dr. Duggal is the chief evangelist of Metaverse Law Nucleus, conference director of International Conference of Metaverse and Law Challenges. He's also the conference director of International Conference on Cyber Law, Cybercrime, and Cybersecurity. He's also the president of chair of CII Summit on Cybersecurity of CII Delhi. Dr. Duggal is the co-chairman of Cybersecurity Committee of ASSOCHAM. He was earlier the chairman of Cyber Law Committee of ASSOCHAM and has been working closely with CII and FICCI. Dr. Duggal is regular on lecture circuit. He has spoken at over 3,000 conferences, seminars, and workshops in the last 2 decades, and has lectured extensively in select law colleges. As a writer, he has made his mark with 199 books on various aspects of law in the last 20 years. Dr. Duggal's books have been conferred various awards by Book Authority in various categories over a couple of years. He has contributed a continuing weekly column on diverse aspects of the law titled Brief Cases to Economic Times for almost a decade. So without wasting a single minute, let me hand over my mic to Mr. Duggal. We all are waiting to hear from you, Mr. Duggal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. It's a pleasure to connect with you virtually. The distances are too much. I was about to finish my hearing and get going, but then the Google map told us that I will not be able to reach on time. Therefore, we are using technology. Well, today when I talk about project management, I'm very clear that no project management takes place in India without the use of the electronic format. That's use of 7 raw materials pertaining to the ecosystem. So you would definitely be using computers, computer systems, computer networks, computer resources, communication devices, as also data and information in the electronic form. Whether it's for monitoring, whether it's for management, whether it's for overseeing, whether it's for supervising, whether it's for making vital decisions, this electronic format becomes the central lifeline. So when we talk about this central digital lifeline, we need to be mindful of the fact that our activities are governed under the Indian cyber legal frameworks. 24 years back, India came up with a new law, then in the year 2000, known as the Information Technology Act 2000. This law, over the last 24 years, has emerged as one of the top 3 legislations in Indian history and is applicable to all your activities in the digital ecosystem. So if you think that you're in the project management era or ecosystem and you can do any decisions, acts, deeds, and things, and that you will not be coming under the Indian cyber law, then with the humbly request, I can tell you that your perception is not on the mark. Why? Because somewhere down the line, project management will have to do with electronic format pertaining to the decisions there. Hence, you are knowing about the legal frameworks and knowing about cybersecurity becomes of crucial necessity. Now, you will say, look, I know so much happening in cybersecurity. Recently, for example, the Ram Mandir was inaugurated in Ayodhya. We all must have seen the remarkable celebrations that took place. But while everything was hunky-dory, behind the scenes, a lot of activities were taking place. A lot of attacks were potentially being targeted against Indian networks, Indian computer systems, for the purposes of breaching the cybersecurity, so as to cause a cyber incident. It was thanks to the efforts of the Indian agencies that nothing untoward was possible and everything went hunky-dory. But when you are managing a project, don't think that you will always be lucky. The fact is that you could potentially be breached in terms of cybersecurity. And if that happens, you have to have certain immediate steps to be done, including reporting this. Now, you will say, I'm into project management. I'm neither the head of project. I'm neither, this is not my baby. The baby is belonging to someone else. And even if there's a cybersecurity breach, how am I concerned? Well, let me begin by saying that you are equally concerned, primarily because of the manner in how the legal frameworks have been evolving. So in this context, I thought I had some slides I can share with them, and please ask me to stop whatever time you want me to stop, and I will stop at that point of time and see if I can potentially share certain slides with you to specifically. I hope my screen is now visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Sure. So quickly, there's a weekly 15% increase in cyber attacks every week in India. So that will give you an idea how much cyber attacks are targeting you and your project. Big data threats in terms of breaches are emerging not just from within the country, but even from outside, and even from the devices that you are actually going ahead and using from other countries, including China. Every digital infrastructure of every company, every country is potentially under attack. And therefore, you need to be in a constant state of red alert. No wonder the recent report tells us that India has emerged as the top 3 target for nation-state-driven cyber attacks. And in case if your project is into the critical information infrastructure sector, even though your project is in the private sector, the chances of that project being targeted by cyber attacks are going to be very heavy. And therefore, when I look at the entire art of project management, I quickly start realizing that there is a great marriage between project management, cybersecurity, and the cyber law. Because at the end of the day, growth takes place through building blocks. These building blocks are the projects. And in India, as we are working towards the digital India nation, the digital projects in India assume far more significance, more so in terms of protecting, preserving their cyber security. At the end of the day, we are all concerned about digital transformation, because projects, when you also do, ultimately would contribute towards digital transformation. And therefore, this entire concept of project management and cybersecurity has to be seen from a new lens, from a distinctive lens. Why? Because data have become the new oil of the new data economy. Everybody is dealing with data. And therefore, you need to be understanding the legal ramifications of data. Today, cyberscape landscape is changing. New technologies are coming in. But despite new technologies coming in, cybersecurity becomes a big buzzword. So as I began by saying, here is the Indian cyber law, the Information Technology Act 2000, that almost all of us need to be aware of. Why? Because this is dealing with almost all legal ramifications pertaining to your activities in cyberspace. Mind you, this was not a law for project development or project management. It's primarily a law meant for promoting e-commerce and also for promoting electronic governance. But over a period of time, it's become so huge that it's become, by and large, one of the top 3 most important legislations in the history of independent India. And therefore, when you are managing any project, please be mindful of the legal provisions in the cyber law and the rules and regulations made thereunder, because they are mandatory. Now, you can't say that I'm ignorant of law, because ignorance is no excuse in the eyes of law. And if you're ignorant and you violate the law, you jolly well have to face the legal consequences for the same. And there are a number of consequences. So, for example, this law is providing the relief for seeking damages by way of compensation up to 5 crore rupees under Section 43 of the IT Act. So if you're not very careful and some activities as defined under Section 43 takes place, your organization can be sued for damages up to 5 crore rupees. Further, various cyber crimes have been defined, including computer-related offenses. Any activity which dishonestly or fraudulently diminishes the value or utility of electronic information is broadly covered under Section 66 of the IT Act. Identity theft, dishonestly receiving computer resources, cheating by personation, violation of privacy. These are all various cyber crimes that are defined that you need to know. Well, sometimes in your project, you find that your employees are accessing pornography, including child pornography. That could suddenly open up a new Pandora's box because publishing obscenity online is an offense, but accessing child pornography or browsing child pornography becomes a more serious, heinous offense, punishable with 5 years imprisonment and 10 lakh rupees fine. Now, under this law, the law has now come up with a new concept of intermediaries. Any person who on behalf of another person is receiving, storing or transmitting any particular electronic record becomes an intermediary. Every company in India becomes an intermediary. So once you're an intermediary, Section 79 of the IT Act says, please exercise due diligence while you discharge your obligations under the law. So lo and behold, the government comes up with various norms for due diligence, including various rules, the IT Rules 2011, the IT Rules 2021. And these rules have already been upheld by the Delhi High Court in the case of X versus Union of India, where I was the amicus curiae assisting the Delhi High Court. So a number of requirements. So in your projects, please realize that your organizations are intermediaries. You're required to have your rules and regulations, your privacy policies, your user agreements, by means of which you are effectively going ahead and telling your people, please don't do a variety of activities. Also, as an intermediary, you are required to comply with the certain minimum parameters of cybersecurity. For example, you are now required to implement and maintain reasonable security practices and procedures. For example, an ISO 27001 for the purposes of ensuring the authenticity or veracity of cybersecurity. Further, if a cybersecurity breach takes place in a network, these new rules tell us you will have to mandatorily report this to the nodal agency on cybersecurity, being the Computer Emergency Response Team of India. And this is mandatory, no longer optional. You don't comply with this law. You can always say, I'm the great votary of the Indian Jugaad School of Management. I love Jugaad. So I will do Jugaad. Well, you're more than welcome to do Jugaad. The only problem is Jugaad in the electronic ecosystem may not be completely successful. The reason is very clear. That when you do Jugaad, you would be creating false electronic records. You would be engaging into electronic forgery for the purposes of cheating. And that's an offense that gets you 7 years jail time and fine under Section 468 of the Indian Penal Code. So we don't advise our clients to do Jugaad. We rather advise them that please ensure compliance. Otherwise, be prepared for two liabilities. Number one, you can be sued for damages by way of compensation up to 5 crore rupees and even unlimited damages. And you can also be made criminally liable for offenses under the IT Act and the Penal Code. If you are an intermediary and you are a company and you think you can't be sent to jail, think again. The law says your top management can be sent to jail. So your board of directors, your CXO level people can be booked for same offenses for which the company is being booked, and they can be sent to jail. These IT rules 2021 are mandatory. You will have to comply with the same. You don't comply, no problem. Just remember Rule 7 of the IT Rules 2021. Why? Because this rule is saying you don't comply with these mandatory provisions, be prepared for two things. Number one, the statutory exemption from legal liability that's given to you under Section 79 of the IT Act gets snatched away from you by operation of law. And secondly, you become liable for being punished for offenses under the IT Act and the Penal Code. So you have to really go ahead and get your compliances in place. So you're saying, I'm a project manager, one more additional compliances? And my answer is a clear yes. Yes, additional compliances in order to ensure that your project management is right on target, you don't get deflated or derailed, and you don't face unnecessary risks as we go forward. Because Section 85 IT Act says if an offense is committed by the company, then every person responsible for running the day-to-day affairs of the company shall be deemed to be guilty of the said offense. In this scenario, let's realize that cybersecurity has become the need of the hour. In fact, we need to adopt cybersecurity as a way of life. This assumes more significance because globally everybody is talking about cybersecurity. But while other countries are coming up with laws on cybersecurity, India does not have any dedicated law on cybersecurity. That does not mean that we don't have anything on cybersecurity. There are certain provisions under the IT Act pertaining to cybersecurity under the IT Rules 2011 and the IT Rules 2021. So please ensure compliance with these parameters. In addition, 2013, India had come up with the National Cybersecurity Policy. A wonderful document at that point of time. But then it remained a mere paper tiger. We were not able to effectively enforce it. And consequently, it's not been implemented yet. The government is working on a new strategy called the National Cybersecurity Strategy as we go forward. But I think as project managers, I want to wake you up to this new regulation. These are known as the IT Directions 2022. They have come into effect from 28th of June 2022. And they are saying that should you come to know of a cybersecurity breach, you are required to report this within 6 hours of coming to know about the same. You don't report it within 6 hours, and you commit an offense, punishable with imprisonment and fine. So you can say, well, I've come to know about it. Nobody knows. Everything is fine. Sorry. The golden period of 6 hours is more important. If you have come to know something and you have not done things within 6 hours, then you have committed the offense. In India, every man steals. The man who gets caught becomes a thief. So in case tomorrow it comes to be known that you did not report within 6 hours, you can be criminally prosecuted. So these are some massive new developments as far as cybersecurity is concerned. A number of clients of ours who did not report found that they were getting communications from the government saying, look, we've come to know that you have not reported, so please give a show cause notice. So it's better to be on the side of caution and ensure compliance with these parameters. Now you will say, when does my 6 hours start? My 6 hours starts the moment, sorry, electronically, some evidence shows that this has come to my attention. So maybe some email is generated by someone, a WhatsApp message, or even any other communication, which is a proof which gets entered into your system. That becomes proof of the fact that you have come to know about it. Then within 6 hours, you must report it. And these are different 15 kinds of instances that are required to be reported. Two things which you must know under all circumstances. One is called data breach, and the other one is called data leak. These are so broad that almost anything under the sun could be coming under the same. The moment there's a cybersecurity breach, there will automatically be a data breach. Sometimes there would be a data leak. A data leak could be a data breach, but a data breach would definitely involve a data leak. So at the end of the day, it's a very permutation combination business. The directions are using the word shall, therefore they are mandatory. They're no longer just, shall I say, directory. In addition, let's now be prepared for a new ground reality. This is now India's new foray into data protection called the Digital India Personal Data Protection Act 2023. This law has been passed by the Parliament and has become the law as on 11th of August 2023. It's not yet been implemented because the government is coming up with new rules, but basically it's talking of 3 broad categories. Data principals, that's people like you and me, who are the owners of data, to whom data belongs to. Then there's something known as a data fiduciary, who's a legal entity who will decide what has to be done vis-a-vis the personal data that's get collected. And then there is concept of data processor, which is the legal entity who processes data as we go forward. Here are some rights and duties of data principles that have been stipulated under the law. This law is most important. Why? Because this is the only law that's dealing with personal data. They have now decided we will be coming up with a data protection board, huge powers given to the data protection board for doing a number of things. And any breach of personal data will have to be reported to the data protection board. Further, this has got amended the IT Act, a number of sections like section 43A of the IT Act have been deleted. Basically, this law is aiming to strengthen the hands of Indian data principles. Till now, anybody used to capture our data, use it against us without asking us, and we would be nowhere. Now, suddenly we realize that our hands are empowered, and you will have, as data principles, rights to access personal data, the right to modify, the right to review, the right to delete, the right to correct or even update your personal data. The celebratory point of this law is that no offenses have been defined under this law. So no data offenses given. Great. Does that mean that this is ground for celebration? I don't think so. Why? Because this law is categorically saying that if you contravene this law, then you're going to be given a fine. Fine which will start from 50 lakh rupees. Sorry, 50 crore rupees, not lakh rupees. And will extend to 250 crore rupees. That means one fine and 250 crore rupees on a project. See where your project goes. It's going to go completely off rail. So you will have to ensure compliance with the parameters of the data protection law, and the power to award these fines has been given with the Data Protection Board of India. You will be given opportunity of being heard, alternate dispute resolution is being encouraged, but the bottom line is ultimately it will be the Data Protection Board that will determine whether you have contravened the provisions of this law and how much fine has to be imposed on you. So depending on the significance of the breach, the fine is going to be imposed on you. But the problem is 250 crores. Do you have 250 crores loose change? Can you pay that up? I think 99% of Indian companies don't have 250 crore rupees as loose change. So if you want to protect your company, please ensure compliance with this law. Otherwise, just be prepared to pay around 250 crore rupees. And this 250 crore rupees effectively is not going to go to in the eyes of the or in the hands of the complainant. This is going to go in the pocket of the government. It will go to the Consolidated Fund of India. So the government is the recipient of your fine. You don't pay the government, no problem. The government will just attach your properties and will realize the fine. So I think there are new requirements that are coming in. You will have to basically be prepared for these changes. I'm looking at my watch. I've already spoken for about 22 minutes. I want to pause here and just request everyone, please, once again, for summary purposes, some key points that we discussed. Number one, please comply with the Indian IT Act and the IT rules and regulations because you're all intermediaries in your project management exercises. Number two, please comply with the IT rules 2021 because they're mandatorily applicable to you. Number three, please comply with the cybersecurity parameters, including the IT directions 2022, and report any cybersecurity breach that comes to your attention within 6 hours of coming to know about it. Whether it's a cyber incident, a cybersecurity incident, or a cybersecurity breach, they will have to be reported. And number four, please ensure compliance with the DPDP Act, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Otherwise, just be prepared to pay 250 crore rupees per contravention. The per contravention is a very important phrase. So supposing, sorry, there are 4 contraventions, be prepared to pay 1,000 crore rupees is fine. Is that something that you can afford? I don't think so. So therefore, compliance is your only way forward as I go. Please give appropriate significance to cybersecurity because that's going to be the foundational principle for sustenance, for growth, for progress. And at the end of the day, just go ahead and protect yourselves, your organization, your companies, because you don't know how long, when, where, and from which direction you're going to be sued in this new cyber ecosystem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Happy to answer any specific questions that anyone may have. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Duggal. Thank you for taking out your precious time and speaking to all of us. Any questions that you would like to ask, Dr. Duggal? Seems like no questions, but we do look forward to your book number 200, Dr. Duggal. 199 already published. We look forward to book number 200. So thank you so much for the talk, and thank you again for taking out your precious time and imparting this knowledge to all of us. And we do have a small vote of thanks for you. So we have a tree certificate. So we've planted trees under your name, and small token of gift from PMI North India chapter. We'll get that shipped.
Thank you. Looking forward to receiving your gift. I would have loved to come up with you in person for this event, except I had some hearing which only got finished at 4:25, and so couldn't really match up the times and the distances. But it's a pleasure to be part of it.
No problem at all. But anyway, you were able to make it online. So thank you so much for that. So here's the tree certificate, and we'll be definitely sharing that. Dr. Sareen is here. He would like to take up a minute. Yeah.
This is Dr. Amit Sareen, the Dean Academics at IMT Ghaziabad. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable time. And we would love to have you at our campus at any point of time. Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Duggal. So thank you so much, everyone. So here we come to an end to this conference. We had our 3 speakers who talked about different topics related to cybersecurity. And I would like to thank all the entire faculty of IMT Ghaziabad for having us here, all the students, volunteers, teachers, all the speakers who have made this conference possible. And a big round of applause to all of you for being patient and being here. Have a wonderful day. But before we let you go, we at PMI North India chapter have a small token of love for IMT Ghaziabad. I would like to call on stage Mr. Jay Kumar, President, PMI North India chapter, and Dr. Sareen, please. So here's a small token from PMI North India chapter for IMT Ghaziabad. Thank you, IMT Ghaziabad. You've been lovely audience. And it's been great being here. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. And thank you, Dr. Sareen. Once again. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. And I would like to request all our guests to join us for high tea. Thank you so much. It's been a great conference, and we look forward to seeing you again, maybe in future. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day.